It's Dr. Steve, master of the subconscious mind and doctor who fixes 100% of orthopedic issues not related to cancer, fracture, or infection. We're going to break down seed oils today and the ramifications of eating a diet high in linolenic acid. So, sunflower oil, soybean oil, corn oil, vegetable oil, right? These oils are filled with omega-6 linolenic acid. And even worse, it mixes and it causes a combination related with iron. So when we have gene mutations in the heme pathway, and we also have mutations such as FADS or such that don't allow us to metabolize our fats well, it's compounded. But everyone's going to struggle with this. The seed oils aren't good for any of us in high amounts. So our food system has completely been changed, and it's, we need to go back to an unadulterated food system. But the animals aren't fed what they naturally were. And it's not just the seed oils. It's not just the processed food that's a problem that contains these things. The sunflower oil, the safflower oil, the soybean oil, right? Canola oil. It's not just those oils. It's also these animals like chickens and pork that are fed grains and seeds. They can't convert those grains and seeds into stearic acid, as in saturated fat. So what happens is now you're getting these polyunsaturated fatty acids and this linolenic acid. You're getting more of that in your diet. So it becomes a big problem because those levels of linolenic acid that are building up in your body are lowering hepcidin. And that creates free-floating iron in the tissue, and then that ends up causing hydroxyl radicals. And the hydroxyl radicals cause headaches, they cause vascular damage, they cause gut damage, they cause neurological dysregulation and mood swings, right? There's so many factors that are caused from high levels of hydroxyl radical. But also the peroxynitrate damage, right? So when we consume these seed oils, we get higher levels of ammonia that basically regulate angiotensin 1 and angiotensin 2. And that's control blood pressure. So, peroxynitrate damages the gut. It affects our hormones. It can disrupt sulfuration and cause a higher problem with oxalates. And we need sulfuration to make our neurotransmitters, to make our hormones, for detoxification. Right? There's a lot of factors of sulfuration. So all this is interconnected. So the fact that our food system, our commercial food system now is so tainted, and it's causing health issues at an excessive alarming rate. And we wonder why we see more heart disease and cancer than we ever have. It's the linolenic acid, is the way our food supply is being taken care of. And it all started back in the 50s with Roosevelt when he had his heart attack, because the petroleum companies came along and they wanted to push these heart healthy oils. So they created a campaign, Mausolea Your Family, and they paid the federal government $1 million, which is the equivalent of like $20 million now. So again, everything's about money, and then people are sick, and then it's profited by the petroleum companies that also own the pharmaceutical companies. So we get back to the root of it all, and we can see why things are actually occurring. And the government has done studies on all this, and they can vouch, and they see the data, and they know that it's happening. But the money is what's controlling things. So we know we live in a pay-for-play system. It's not really a democracy here in the United States. But beyond the politics, let's focus on your health, because if you're healthy and you're happy, you don't need the government. There's no need for them. So the way to fix this problem and to cut out all these seed oils is you don't buy anything processed in the stores, because everything, the baked goods and the cakes, the cookies, the things you think are healthy for you, they even claim they're healthy, the heart healthy margarines and whatever that's marketed. We know that stuff's not good for us. But the biggest source of linolenic acid that people aren't aware of is chicken, because they only have the one stomach. They can't convert the seeds and the grains into saturated fat. And what we need to do, and to have a proper diet, we need to make sure we're getting our copper to bind to the iron. So we need enough retinol. And you're going to get your retinol from cod liver oil and beef liver. That's how you're going to get that. Then you get your copper to bind to the iron, and you're going to make the hemoglobin so it doesn't oxidize and become the hydroxyl radical. But then you're going to have to figure out, well, what am I going to be able to eat? What meats can I actually eat? Because we need the actual animal flesh, right? So what you're going to eat is beef, grass-fed beef, and you got to know where you're getting it from, because now the government's subsidizing the farmers to do mRNA vaccines in the cattle, even if it's organic. They've changed the label of organic, so now you have to know the farmer. You have to make sure you're getting grass-fed beef that's not vaccinated. And you can also have lamb, you can have venison, you can have elk, you can have antelope, right? Those are some good choices. And people are like, well, what about fish? Fish has a lot of plastics, BPAs, and also, which disrupt our hormones, and they also contain the heavy metals. And they're filled with PUFA, polyunsaturated fatty acids, again. So it's best to keep the fish to a minimum, right? Because now if you eat those polyunsaturated fatty acids and seed oils, remember, histamine goes up, serotonin levels go up, epinephrine goes up, and now we influence our mood, we influence our gut, we influence our vascular system, everything's impacted. So you can have those animal meats. But the argument many people have is, well, I can't eat those meats. They're not good for me because it has high methionine and tryptophan. And so those meats that are high in methionine and tryptophan, yes, they will cause higher epinephrine and create some issues. But if we have carbohydrates like rice and potatoes and honey and milk, like raw milk, what ends up happening is you lower that epinephrine response. And we can take it a step further, and if you have the collagen in the liver, you have the proline, the glycine that you need to lower the epinephrine response from those other amino acids that are in the animal flesh. So no longer do you worry about tryptophan or methionine because you're getting the proline and the glycine. So there is a system to get everything in place and to have everything you need, and you can check it through lab work. You can look at your blood results, you can find out what you're deficient in. You can do an organic acid test, we can look at the metabolic byproduct. We can, there's a lot of different tools we can utilize to figure out what needs to be done. But the perfect diet really consists of fruit, honey, animal proteins, as in ruminant animals, and some vegetables in there. Just a few. You don't even need as much as what's being said. So, like people always talk about vitamin C, and you need where are you going to get your vitamin C from? Well, if you eat fruits, you're getting your vitamin C. But even if you didn't eat the fruits, you are going to get your vitamin C because there's something with the carbohydrates that actually change the insulin sensitivity that lower the amount of vitamin C you can actually utilize. So, that's what we need to do. We need to focus on that. When you do that, you're going to keep your cortisol levels lower. Your hormonal regulation is going to be better. You're not going to get the plaque buildup in the arteries. You're not going to get the dysregulation of blood pressure and blood sugar. You're not going to get the inflammation that's occurring. Your entire body is going to feel better, and your mood is going to be better. Because if you're healthy and happy and thriving, you're not just surviving anymore. You are actually finding your purpose. You're actually wanting to go out and do good and help other people. But if you feel terrible, you're easily controllable and you're easily manipulated and you can't think clear. So you have to go back to the roots and do what was originally established, not just the carnivore diet, right? Because people mistake it. Don't do the carnivore diet because you need your carbohydrates in there because that's going to lower that cortisol level. And it's also going to, the carnivore diet also typically lacks the cartilage that we need. What we need to get from our gelatin is the one thing that has it, but from the collagen protein, right? So anyway, if you guys need help on fixing your diet and regulating your blood pressure, lowering your blood sugar, finding out why you have headaches, finding out why you have gut distress, joint aches and pains, we can find the root of it. We can figure out what's going on. We can put together the plan for you and get you back to thriving, not surviving.